Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am Jessica McElveen, Child Behaviour and Family Dynamics Specialist. I've just finished a client session and I think there's a lot to learn in this, which I learned as well going along with this process with her. I wanted to share about when we start to blame someone or something for being exhausted. So for my client this morning, she was sharing how exhausting parenting is. Okay, being a parent is extremely exhausting. Being a mum is extremely exhausting. Parenthood is exhausting, really tiresome for her. And what we needed to do was dig really, really deep into why it is and how it is. And what we got to was a really important point for all humans. This is just human behavior 101, because generally it's not the thing or the person or the role that you're playing that has you being exhausted. It's something else. So I wanted to share a drawing with you. So this is how I explained it to her, or helped her see what was really having her be exhausted. And what she realized by the end was that it wasn't parenting that was exhausting. It was something else. So what she needed to see was this. So let's just keep it as parenting as the exhausting factor for this example. All right. Parenting equals exhaustion. Now, if there's any spelling mistakes, please don't blame me. I'm not the best speller. Okay, not the best. So we've got parenting equals exhaustion. You can relate this to anything. It could be your job is exhausting. It could be what else? What other roles do we have in this world? Being a wife is exhausting. Being a parent is exhausting. Being on a certain board is exhausting. Maybe it's the parent, the parent board at the school. Maybe it's a volunteer role that you have is exhausting or overwhelming. So whatever you would relate to being exhausting. Now, what we needed to see was why this is the case. And what she started seeing was that here what is what's happening. I want you to imagine that all of these prongs are who you're trying to be in the role that is giving you a lot of exhaustion. Because we have all of these roles and expectations with whatever role we play in life. Now, the expectations often come from, yes, our childhood, who we're conditioned to believe is right and better. Okay, better, good, right, more successful, happier. Now, what this client could see was that she was comparing herself to many types of parents. Okay, because when she said to me, I know I'm not a good mum. I'm not an active mum. I'm not a present mum like all of the other parents. And I asked a question. I said, you're not an active mum compared to who? And that's when she started to think, and that's when she started to see all of the different types of people that she's comparing herself to. One was her sister, one was her mum, one was mums on TV shows, mums that she sees in the shops, right? So we've got probably about 5,000, okay, 5,000 other people that we're trying to be. Right? We're trying to compare ourselves to that mum in the shop that one time, my sister that one time that she was over for lunch, and every other time I've seen her, my mum, that other parent that I saw when she was dropping her daughter off at daycare. We're comparing ourselves to all of these other people. Now, what do you think that does to who you are? because it does a lot. And that's where the exhaustion comes from for the most part. Because what happens in here, right, with all of these people we're trying to be around here, is that it alters who we are being. We have these masks on. Each one of these people that we are trying to compare ourselves to around this circle has a different mask. Got to be more patient here, better looking here, better clothes here, cleaner house here, better skin here, bigger eyelashes here, more patient here, more calm here, more playful here, more active here. There are a lot of masks, a whole heap of masks, and that alters who we are being. And it's when things are altering who we are being, and when we are trying to be someone else other than ourselves, that exhaustion kicks in. Because it is damn exhausting trying to be somebody else 95% of the time. So the question then to ask yourself, so you might be thinking, well, what, how does this help me then with being exhausted? So the first step then is to start considering, who am I comparing myself to? So you might reflect in the last week where you've lost your marbles, you've lost the plot, you've gotten angry, you've gotten upset, whatever the case may be for you, and start writing down, in that moment, I was comparing myself to blank. Who, whom, what? Until we figure out who we are comparing ourselves to, there is no freedom in who we are being. And it's in who we are being that either provides us energy or exhaustion. And if we are trying to be somebody else constantly, exhaustion is the only outcome. And it's usually because we have some really destructive self-beliefs. So for this particular mum, there's a lot of beliefs, a lot of guilt and shame around the woman that she is, the parent that she is, the past scenarios that have happened with her children, what she has said to her children in the past, what she hasn't said or done with her children in the past. There's a lot of guilt and shame there. And more than likely, if you start to dig in here, which is not going to feel comfortable, but if you start digging, you'll start to see where the guilt or the feeling bad might be stemming from, so that you are more inclined to just want to be somebody else other than yourself, to be a different parent other than yourself, to be a different woman, to be a different man, to be a different human altogether. So I'd start questioning, who are you comparing yourself to? And I know that when I've had to ask this question, it's really confronting, because it then means that we need to come back to who we are now, who we are in this moment. Because I asked my client a really great question. She gave a profound answer. She didn't know it. I asked her, so listen here, Stacey, we'll call her Stacey. Stacey, who are you without all of these masks? And I ask you, who are you without all of these masks? Trying to be a different parent, to be a different person, to be a different woman. Who are you without them? And you know what she told me? She said, Jess, I'm no one. And that's incredibly profound, because we only have the thoughts that we do because we have all of these expectations and comparisons and conditioning coming from us, which we've learned over a number of years. So she's actually accurate. She didn't realize how profound it is, but it is. We are no one without all of that junk, all of the masks, all of the expectations, all of the conditioning. So if we can get back to that no one stage, then we have the potential to create the woman, the man, the parent that you want to be. But we first need to know who we are comparing ourselves to, and why? Because that is what creates most of the exhaustion in this human experience. So give that practice a go. Write down what you think and keep going until all the thoughts disappear. And you might be surprised as to what you find out. And let me know. Let me know if you do this and what you find.